Hello everyone, welcome to the audio version of the Exploration Weekly Newsletter for the week of January 29th. Where's January gone? Wasn't New Year's just yesterday? Anyway, a special shout out to Jules Ramos and Heidi So for all of their hard work each and every week on our newsletter. And now, the news. The number of channels monetizing via YouTube's partner program doubled in 2020. CEO Susan Wojcicki shared a letter to the YouTube community looking back on 2020 that YouTube's creative ecosystem contributed approximately $16 billion to the U.S. GDP in 2019, this based on an Oxford economics report. Moreover, Wojcicki noted that YouTube has paid out more than $30 billion to creators, artists, and media companies over the last 3 years. And more creators are gaining the ability to monetize, with the number of channels joining the YouTube Partner Program last year having doubled over 2019. Looking ahead, Wojcicki stated that YouTube was readying even more tools for the creator community. The company is investing in new mobile creation functionalities, including bringing its TikTok-like Shorts product to more markets this year. And the company is also developing new commerce tools that will enable viewers to discover and buy products that they see in videos. Apple Services hits record $15.8 billion in quarterly revenue. Apple's Services division hit an all-time revenue high during the final 3 months of the year. The group, which accounts for sales from Apple Music, Apple TV+, iCloud, App Store, and other software products, had a fiscal first quarter revenue of nearly $15.8 billion, up 24% from the $12.7 billion it brought in during the same period a year earlier. The growth in services revenue, a priority for the company in recent years, helped to drive record revenue for Apple, which reported quarterly sales of $111.4 billion. The main driver for the quarter was Apple's new line of iPhones, which brought in $65.6 billion in revenue. Services is Apple's second largest division behind iPhones. The company has prioritized keeping its device owners in its ecosystem by offering them a suite of media apps and other utility software. Liberty Media Offshoot raises $575 million to buy huge company. Will it be in music? Liberty Media Acquisition Corporation, LMAC, the newly formed blank check acquisition company launched by Liberty Media, raised $570 million in its IPO on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange in the U.S. last week. The company's 57,500,000 shares started trading at $10 per unit on January 22nd under the symbol LMACU. According to a new press release, Liberty Media Acquisitions Corporation tends to search for a target in the media, digital media, music, entertainment, communications, telecommunications, and technology industries. In response to that statement of intent, 2 questions on the lips of many in the music business today are, will LMAC's target acquisition end up being a music company? And if so, who will it be? In LMAC's prospectus and on its new website, the company explains that we have not selected any business combination target, and we have not, nor has anyone on our behalf, engaged in any substantive discussions, directly or indirectly, with any business combination target. Amongst other holdings, Liberty Media, via its Liberty SiriusXM group, owns a 33% stake in Live Nation Entertainment and a 5% stake in iHeartMedia. In addition, it owns a 74% stake in SiriusXM, which in turn fully owns Pandora. The MLC Newsletter: What's New, What's Next, and Reminders. This week's newsletter, published by the MLC, highlights a few updates, including new navigation buttons and a recently launched bulk data upload feature. In addition, the MLC anticipates the shift from the prior mechanical licensing system to the new blanket mechanical licensing system by noting changes in the timing and frequency of royalty distributions for rights holders. For digital service providers, the statutory deadline for paying historic unmatched royalties and usage reports to the MLC is Monday, February 15, 2021. For members, the MLC plans to begin distributing monthly royalty payments starting in April, which means members need to make sure that all of their contact and payment information is accurate and up to date. COVID-19 knocked 76% off Europe's music revenue. A study published by the European Author Society GESAC showed overall revenue in Europe's creative sector dropped 31% in 2020, from a high of $783 billion in 2019 to $540 billion last year. Music revenue in Europe also slumped some 76%, and box office sales at European cinemas fell an estimated 75%. The only creative sector to see an uptick was the video games industry, which recorded a 9% bump in sales. GESAC is calling for a massive public financing and stronger support for private investment in cultural and creative businesses to return the industry to growth post-COVID. They are also demanding a solid legal framework to allow creatives to adequately protect and leverage their content online. Royalties from collection agencies fell 35% in 2020, and that in most sectors, increased digital revenue did not compensate for the loss from reduced physical sales. French study offers new data on impact of user-centric payouts. According to a new study commissioned by the National Music Center in France, using data from Spotify and Deezer, switching to a user-centric system would reduce the royalties paid out to rights holders of the top 10 artists by 17.2%. They would get a 7.7% of the overall payouts rather than 9.3%. The result would be small percentage gains further down the pyramid. An average of 1.3% increase for artists ranked 11th through 100, a 2.2% increase for those ranked 101 to 1,000, and a 0.5% increase for those between 1,001 and 10,000, and finally a 5.2% increase for those outside the top 10,000. The CNM warned, however, that if the percentages of change seem not insignificant, the amounts in value remain in reality limited. That 5.2% average increase for artists outside the top 10,000 would be at most a few euros per year on average for those musicians. Now there's a licensing platform for small-scale live streams in the UK. PRS for Music formally announced the release of its one-stop licensing portal this week. The 107-year-old UK Collecting Society created the platform due to the huge rise in live-stream concerts that arrived amid the pandemic, and the tool is available specifically for live-stream events that generate £500 or less. The live-stream licenses, which cover public performances as well as associated sync and mechanical licenses, cost £22.50 apiece for digital events with revenues of up to £250. Additionally, the licenses come with a price tag of £45 for each of the online gigs that make between £251 and £500. PRS for Music also noted in the release that it's working to apply temporary discounted rates until traditional concerts resume for licensing on live-stream sets that earn above £500. Moreover, the London-headquartered entity is proactively in discussion with other societies to deliver a global blanket license for UK gigs that might be accessed internationally. And from this week's Random Ramblings section, Medium.com has a great article about how music is used to influence how we feel about the characters on the movie screen. Did you ever find yourself empathizing with the darkest of villains? Well, that's probably in part to the melancholic piano music you might be hearing. Did you ever find your heart racing to a chase on horseback through a film? Well, that's also due to the music that accompanies the visual aspect. Writer Cynthia S. breaks down a study published by the Frontiers of Psychology to discuss how music influences the audience and adds depth to the storytelling in films. Check out the article via the link in the description below. That's all for me this week. It's still COVID season, so everyone please continue to stay safe. And remember to be kind to each other.